Today, the big thing we're going to talk about is really three things, and a lot of it is going to relate to par 5 scoring, okay? We're going to talk about hitting up on our driver. Then we're going to talk about hitting long irons, long to mid irons, and kind of hitting up on them. And then we're going to look at how to hit, a 50 to 30 yard shot by kind of opening the face on a 56-degree wedge or a 60-degree wedge, depending on kind of your shot. Now, the first couple things we want to talk about is hitting up on our driver. Now, you may already be doing a good job of this, so that's great if you are, right? But it never hurts to be reminded of some fundamentals, okay? So the first thing we want to do is King's going to address a golf ball. Okay, now go ahead and spread your feet, okay? Now, the first thing we always want to take note of is where is King playing the ball in his stance? As he's playing it far up in his stance. Does anybody know why we do that? Relax, King. Does anybody know why we do that? It helps you go up on the ball. How? That's exactly right, the how.
Because it's not in your downswing.
That's right, it's in the upswing, right? The golf swing, if we back away from the golf ball, King, and put the club right in the middle of your stance. The golf swing is an arc, right? So go up, and then he swings back down, okay? And so it's an arc, and an arc has a bottom, and the bottom of the arc is the middle of your body, right? It's a pendulum, it's the middle of your body. So that's why we play our irons, for the most part, kind of right in the middle of our stance, because we actually want to hit down on irons, right? Does that make sense? We want to kind of catch them right at the bottom. But with our driver, we want to hit up on it. Why do we want to hit up on our driver?
For the most part, the face is flat.
That's right. So the driver naturally has less loft than any club in your bag. One thing is we have to hit up on it to make it get more up in the air. Why is it a good thing to hit a driver up in the air? Why is it not okay just to hit it real flat? That's right, because we hit it farther when we hit it generally higher. Now, if you hit a pop-up, that's not going to go farther. But the higher a ball goes, the longer it's in the air, the more ground it covers, right? Does that make sense? So we want to hit up on the driver. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. King's going to put it in front of his stance. Okay, King's going to take a good stance here. Okay, now, some of you might struggle, and so you struggle to get it. King's a little neutral. You'll notice his right shoulder is lower than his left. Some of you might struggle. So King's not doing a good job of just bump your hip, just your hip, not your shoulders. And right there, we call that the reverse K. You look right there, you see that? Looks like kind of a K, doesn't it, right? So what he did there was he did not do this with his shoulders, he did this with his hips. And look, his shoulders naturally got just a little bit of slant in them, right? And that means we're gonna go and hit up on it. The club's gonna follow the path, the angle of our shoulders, right? So the club moves up if our left shoulder's higher. All right, King, what are some other things you might say are important to do to hit up on it? That's right. So we want to keep our head behind the ball. King's trying to say that. He just didn't know the exact terminology behind that. So King, go in slow motion. We're going to come to impact. When we come to impact, we want that hip moving this way, but we actually still want our head behind the golf ball, right? Because if our head's behind the golf ball, that means the club is going to move up. If King got his weight going this way, then suddenly he just moved the middle. The ball's now more in the middle of his stance, and he's going to hit more down on it, right? And that's not where we're going to work. So to make sure our head starts behind it, and everything's looking like we're going to hit it up. So when we get to impact, guess where we want to be? We still want our head to be behind the golf ball. My hips, everything are moving, but I'm trying to think about keeping my head behind it so I can swing up on the golf ball. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Now, King, go back to impact one more time. Ellis, will you get me one of my irons out of my bag? Okay. One thing we're going to note right here, King has just a hair, really not of shaft lean. Okay, we talk a lot about shaft lean with irons. Shaft lean is this. With an iron, we want that, but with our driver, because we're not hitting down on it, we're hitting up on it, we want what we would call neutral shaft lean. Y'all notice that right there? So the reason why I'm bringing that up is if you were to video yourself at home, and you can relax, King, and you saw with your driver, you had this going, that's bad. That's bad. That's good, not necessarily bad with iron, something like that, right? But with a driver, we actually want to be more neutral, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit 12 balls. You got 10 minutes to hit 12 balls. It's hot outside. Stop after 3. Wipe off the sweat. You got drinks in the cooler. Does that make sense? Get you a drink. And all I want to see you doing is we want to over exaggerate. Anytime we teach a skill, we want to over exaggerate. So to over exaggerate, I want you to feel like you're trying to hit it to the moon. I don't want to hit pop-up sky balls, but I want you to see how high you can hit it. Does that make sense? Okay. and still hit it far and hit it in the center of the face. All right, everybody got it?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll take just a second. Y'all get set up, and then when you're ready to go, y'all pull the trigger and go, okay? Let's talk about how to hit long irons, okay? One of the reasons why I wanted you to hit those drivers and hit up on it is because we kinda are gonna do not exactly, but kinda the same thing with a long iron. Now, what happens with a long iron, King, if you'll move over here for just a second, what happens with a long iron is if you're steep with a 50-degree wedge, right? Look how much shorter this club is than my 5-iron. Look how much shorter it is, right? So if you get what's called steep, where you're kind of driving more just right down into it, right? With the shaft kind of like this as you're coming down, you can get away with that because the club is short enough, you can still kind of make room and hit it, right? But look how long this is. You start doing that with a 4-iron or a 5-iron and you start coming straight down, look. There's not nearly as much room to get away with it. Does that make sense? Okay. So what you didn't realize probably is that for you to hit up on those drivers the way you were, I didn't even have to tell you to do it. That's what I love about a little tip like that. For you to hit up on your drivers, you know that you can't hit up by doing this with the club, with the driver, can you? Because that's what? It's just going straight into the ground. You instinctually knew to hit up on that ball, what'd you have to do? You had to what?
Get up under it.
Right? You had to have this right here going. Does that make sense? You already knew that. So we're going to think about kind of the same thing with a 5-iron, okay? So we're going to think about hitting up. Now, where would my ball position be on a 4-iron or a 5-iron? Front middle, right? So if my driver is here, kind of up here close to the front, okay? And this is the middle where I might play, say, an 8-iron. Right? I want to just go slightly somewhere in between those two. You see that? Just a little bit. Didn't move it much. Now, why am I doing that? Because if it's out of the middle of my stance, I've got a chance to hit it more on the upswing. So I'm actually going to try and hit up with a long iron, a 4 or 5-iron or a hybrid, 3-wood. I'm going to actually try and hit up on this just a little. Not like I did the driver, right? But I'm trying to feel like I'm kind of hitting up on it. And what that's going to make me do naturally is what? Ellis, what do we work on? Look at where that club is. It's going to naturally make that club drop into the slot, what we call shallow. Does that make sense? Okay. Now this is going to be harder, no doubt about it. Okay. It's going to be harder than the driver because it's not teed up. But that's just what we want to work on. I just want you to hit about, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to hit 12, 15 balls. And I don't care where it goes, left or right. If I see something and I can fix it, terrific. But all I want to see is I want to see you trying to hit slightly up on these long irons, okay? And let's launch them. Let's launch them to the moon, okay? Does that make sense? Now tell me one more reason why that's a good thing to do, especially if you're trying to, say, get onto a par 5 and 2. Okay, could run up, but the biggest thing is you got a chance to hold the green. If you hit a 4-iron and never gets more than 20 feet high and it hits on the green, is it going to stop? No, it's just going to shoot through it. You can't putt for eagle that way, can you? But if we can learn to hit up on this and get some height on it and still get that same distance out of it, maybe even a little more, when it lands, it's got a chance to what? Land softer and stop and give you a chance. All right, I'm going to put 10 minutes on the clock, hit 12, 15 balls. Remember, hit 3 or 4, go wipe off, get a drink, stay cool, okay? It's hot outside. Now, we've hit those 4 irons, those 5 irons, or hybrids, whatever it was. Again, we talked about that feeling of that move right there gets that hip moving forward, shallows the club kind of naturally, and forces you to get on your left side. It's just awesome. It's a simple thought. It takes a lot of complicated stuff and makes it easier. Okay, maybe that could even help you some of that stuff we were talking about. Does that make sense earlier? Now, we've hit the driver. We launched it. We hit a beautiful 4 iron. We got 33 yards left to the hole. We got to figure out how to hit this shot. So those are the big ones, right? Like where we're just, rah, you know, and just ripping it, right? Well, now we got to hit a shot with some touch. And this is what separates golfers. Those who can hit it long and powerful, and they still have that touch around the green, okay? Some of you may prefer to hit this shot straight faced, okay? Did y'all see the face of my club? If you were to look at it right there, that is straight faced. I cannot hit this distance shot with a straight face. I have to lay the face open, okay? So that's what it looks like to lay the face open. Some people will do it a little bit, some will do it a lot. I typically do just something in between those two, okay? Now, this is a really important part of this shot, okay? Is you have to feel like when you hit this shot, you cannot, like with all these other shots, you've been doing that right there. We're going to do the same thing, but we cannot roll our hands. We can't do it. We just can't do it, okay? So all I want to do right here is I'm going to feel here, and for me, I'm just telling you what I feel. I can't tell you what I actually do, because sometimes what we feel is not real. But what I feel like I do is I feel like I let my hips move faster than my hands, and I try to just hold my hands almost as still as I can and just let them brush right underneath the golf ball, okay? I don't know if I can do it on command, on camera. Let's see. Okay, so it's a little bit long because I was just, hitting one, right? But you see what I'm talking about? That idea of that same thing of I'm trying to almost still feel like look where I'm finishing. Do I finish low? I'm finishing high, right? So I'm still, in a sense, got that move going. So I just want you to feel like you can get the blade open. Now, what you have to play around with is how far do you swing it back and how hard do you swing it forward? That's the finesse part. You got to just get out here. Right now, I just want you to hit it. Does that make sense? But we got 33, and what'd you say the second one was? 67. So for me on the golf course, I know grip down to here, and open the face is right at a 70-yard shot. So I don't know if I can do it again on camera. And I just kind of bladed it and left it open, but distance-wise, it wasn't very good. But I know for me, that's the shot. Right there. That's 70 yards. Does that make sense? If I want to hit it 80, I grip up 1 inch. It's about 5 to 7, 8 yards. And I make the same swing. Does that make sense? If I want to hit it 90, I go close faced because I don't want to do this now. I close the face down just a little bit, hit it normal, and I grip up all the way to the end. Okay? So that's some other things that you can play around with is as you're hitting this shot, grip down on it some. Try feeling like, okay, I stopped it at my hands right there. At my hips right here. Oh, yeah, that was 30 yards. And so then you learn that and you go, oh, next time you're on the golf course, you can go 30 yards. Hands at the hips, speed through. Does that make sense? So play around with it a little bit. But again, what are we going to do? We're going to open the face. How do we open the face real quick? Yeah. You don't grip it and then open it, right? You open it and then grip it. So my normal grip, by the way, this is a great way to check your grip. Okay, I'm learning this. This is a great move that my instructor taught me. What do you notice about the edge of that club? It's perfectly parallel to the ground, right? That means I've got it in my hands correctly. Okay, so then I do this. Watch, I do this. I go, okay, that's straight right there, and then I grip. Right? So I didn't go like this. I kept my normal grip. I just opened the face first and then gripped it. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Y'all understand that? So don't do that crazy stuff with your hands, okay? All right, we got 10 minutes or so. Let's spend 5 minutes hitting balls at the first thing. If I come by and I say, Jonah, what'd you feel on that one? You need to have an answer for me. I don't want you just doing this. What'd you feel? I don't know. Like, be thinking about something. Okay, start off gripping down to here. The other reason why I like to grip it down to here, do y'all know why? It shortens your swing, which naturally makes you hit it less distance, and that means I don't have to do this. Perfectly measure it and do this. I can just take it like this and go. Right? Does that make sense? And I can just make what feels like a normal swing without having to change a whole lot. Make sense? All right. Everybody got it? All right, let's do it. Playing very well. And these little touchy shots, they're touchy shots, so they take a little more finesse and detail, okay? Look, notice something right here. Y'all just pay attention to this, and I'm going to shut up, I promise. But if I was making this swing on the golf course, where is the butt of the club in relation to my belly button? It's pointed right at it, right? Watch this right here. Where is it now?
Pointing right at it.
They can say it's pointed right at it. Where is it now?
Pointing right at it.
So what does that tell you I did with my body? I turned my body. I didn't do this. Right? What did I do? Watch. Turn my body. Turn my body. You have to turn your body. Do it with your body, not your hands. Does that make sense? All right, here we go. Good, Will.
Careful, Dad.
Good, Will.
That one went way up.
We're done with this one. We'll move to the next one.
You want a higher one? I'll give you a higher one.
All right, hold what you got. Hold what you got. Now, guard, which makes it go far. Good.
Distance or is it also direction?
Right now we're worried just about, let's do distance for the moment.
Sure. Sounds like it.
Hit it. Don't fade it. Yeah, that's okay. Help out Mr. Hair clean. Now, a couple things we could have done, but I didn't want to do it today because I just wanted you to be freed up. Because we could have put a line that sticks down and aimed at something. But today, I just wanted you to have that feeling. I think you were much freer, and I think you probably hit better shots because you weren't trying to be perfect. So I think if we can take away from this is we want to be like intentional, but we can't be like trying to be perfect all the time. Does that make sense? And we'll be a lot better golfers if we're just free up with all that stuff. Okay. All right. What are some of the things we covered today? We did 3 shots. Driver, and we specifically worked on what?
Knuckleball.
Trying to hit up on the driver, right? And we talked about how that instinctually helps us shallow the club and get that feeling, and also helps us really feel like we got to get on our left side because we have no chance to hit it with any distance if we don't get on our left side, right? Then we talked about what? Long irons, that's right. And we kind of talked about the same thing, right? Trying to have that feeling of almost like we're trying to just slightly hit up on it, right? Because again, it's trying to, because why? This is a 60-degree wedge, so it's short, right? A 4-iron so much longer. If I get steep, I have no room for the club to clear. So I've got to learn how to get that club. And this is just a great way to think about hitting up on it, right? Now I get back here and I hit up on it. Now, the other thing we talked about was what?
Wedges.
Wedges and opening wedges up, right? Trying to open the face up and just play with it. We can grip it down or we can grip it here. We just kind of got to play with it and find our shot. Does that make sense? Now, I said something earlier, and I want y'all to think about this. On a par 5, when you lay up, what number should you lay up to? To your closest favorite number. Now, for some of you, maybe that 30-yard shot was like, dude, if I can get it 30 yards, I feel really good about that. Some of you think, man, 70 yards is my number. Does that make sense? Some of you might be 50. You find out, you get out here and you find a 50-yard shot and you just feel like, it's just so natural to me. For me, the 70-yarder is the one that, for me, it just feels very natural to me. Does that make sense? So when I lay up, I'm trying to lay up as close to that number as I possibly can, because then I've got a super comfortable shot. Does that make sense? And I feel really confident about it. Can you play good golf if you're not confident? Yeah, that's exactly right. And sometimes we wonder, what comes first? Hitting good shots so you get confident, or do you get confident and that makes you hit good shots?
You get confident.
It's kind of both, right? But somewhere along the way, you got to convince yourself you're good enough. A quick story and I'll let y'all go. Y'all know who Wesley Bryan is? From the Bryan Brothers. Anybody ever watch the Bryan Brothers on YouTube? All right, Wesley's won once on the PGA Tour and 3 or 4 times on the Korn Ferry Tour. The Bryan Brothers YouTube page. It's great stuff. You watch them play. The instructor that King and I see was actually his instructor in Augusta, Georgia, right before he won on the Korn Ferry Tour. And Wesley looked at Drew and said, yeah, all the stuff you're telling me, I know it's right, but when you leave, I just do what I want to do. This is when they were kind of like breaking up. And he's like, yeah, but Wesley, you don't understand. If you do this for the rest of your life, you're going to fight a left miss. And he said, Wesley looked at him and said, yeah, Drew, you don't understand. I'm a top 5 ball striker in the world. He didn't mean like I'm going to be. He meant right now. He was not a professional on any tour. He wasn't even an All-American in college. And he said, I'm a top 5 ball striker in the world right now. Within a year, he had won 3 times on the Korn Ferry Tour. Within 2 years, he had won on the PGA Tour. And he had no reason to think he was a top 5 ball striker in the world. But in his mind, he believed he was. Isn't that crazy? So I get it. Sometimes you think, well, I didn't hit any good shots. How can I have confidence? I don't know, but you got to find a way to believe you can hit that shot. Never hit a shot you don't believe you can hit. Does that make sense? It'd be better to hit the shot you believe you can hit than to hit one you don't think you can. Okay? Makes sense? All right. Ball position with the driver. It's just inside the left foot. 4-iron hybrids, 3-wood, kind of middle front. We get to the mid irons. We want to kind of be in the middle. What about the short irons, like a lob wedge? Typically middle back. I don't like them to be here necessarily, but I like them to be here. You might know why. Then we're catching them moving down. What's hitting them moving down make them do?
Pop up.
It can help with height and also with spin, because we really compress it. Does that make sense? That's why we play those shots where we do. Ball position matters a lot.
Thanks for watching Trojan Golf. Make sure to like and subscribe.